Hi guys, so Reform UK are acting a bit like crybabies where they're demanding that they be treated like a mainstream party. On Saturday, Nigel Farage, the leader of Reform, refused to go on the Laura Kuenssberg show unless the BBC apologised to him and his party over members of the audience from last week who asked him difficult questions. It seems some were involved in the media and others were political activists. Richard Tice, the chairman, was also doing the rounds in the media, claiming that a Channel 4 investigation into Reform was a stitch-up, all designed to make the party look bad. This all follows weeks where Farage has been demanding that his party be allowed to sit at the big boys' table. However, the more people see of Farage and Reform, the risk grows higher that they will not like what's on display.
Rob, I mean, the thing that I've really noticed is that Reform are clearly stepping up their attacks. They have come out all guns blazing. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, you get a feeling that Reform and Nigel Farage may be under a bit of pressure because the kind of frequency and the ferocity of the attacks towards what they see as sort of pillars of the establishment, external actors responsible for this bad press, has stepped up today. As you heard in the report, there's that Ofcom complaint that they say that they'll be making a call to investigate, but they've also said that they'll go to the Electoral Commission, the electoral regulator, over that Channel 4 News undercover report. They say that was electoral interference. That was, of course, the report which Reform say was essentially set up, was using an actor, Channel 4, and the person involved say that that isn't the case, that that's not true. The Electoral Commission have responded this evening saying they haven't had anything from Reform. They've also pointed out that their remit doesn't include broadcasters like Channel 4 News and that they don't look into things like defamation either. Another complaint's going into Essex Police over the same report. And then you've got Nigel Farage pulling out of a BBC interview tomorrow and saying they'll be campaigning to scrap the licence fee. So, yeah, stepping up the attacks on the people they see as responsible for this wave of bad press.
Lots going on there. And very briefly, I mean, in terms of the politics, what's this going to be in for votes moving around?
It's interesting because I think a bit like the row over Nigel Farage's comments about Russia and Vladimir Putin, I think how many votes this shifts around sort of depends on how signed up you are to the Reform agenda in the first place. I think for kind of hardcore Reform supporters, well, they'll probably be reaffirmed in their belief that Nigel Farage is the only person speaking the truth. I think if you're a kind of wavering Tory, a bit grumpy with Rishi Sunak, but not dead set on going for Nigel Farage and Reform, like maybe all of this talk makes you feel a little bit more queasy.
Yes. A regular voter who wants to send the government a message, who wants to deliver a bloody nose to Rishi Sunak's administration and the Conservative Party, may be turned off by the likes of Nigel Farage and his shenanigans. Like I said before, Farage is very good at weaving truth and lies together and selling a narrative that is appealing to the public. But the problem is for him that when he's on his own, he's successful. He's able to control the narrative, he's able to say the right thing, and he's able to dig himself out of holes. But when he's part of a party, and the head of a party, but when there's a machine around him, he has less control over the machine. And we're seeing that now. Candidates coming out with ridiculous claims, very offensive language, and Farage is firefighting. Reform UK are firefighting. They're trying to deal with these little fires that are starting up all over the place. And they're not dealing with it like a mainstream party, because they're not a mainstream party. They're not even really a political party, it's a company. So they don't have the mindset to deal with these things, and they don't have the infrastructure to deal with these things. So instead, what they're doing is accusing the media, blaming everyone else, blaming vetting companies, blaming everyone, including the government or whoever, for the problems that they're facing. And it doesn't come across in a way that would, I think, appeal to people who may be sitting on the fence, if there's still anyone sitting on the fence. It seems there's something like 17% of voters are still undecided. And the more they see of Farage, Reform UK and these shenanigans, I think it's going to turn off a lot of people. Not a huge amount. It's possible that some of them are still willing to ignore all of the racism accusations and everything and still vote for Reform just to punish the Conservatives. But I think a significant number will be turned off by this. And the longer it goes on, the worse it is for Farage. I think he would have preferred him in control, him doing all the talking, and the candidates quiet, the candidates do as they're told, and the candidates keep their heads down. But unfortunately, in the era of social media, it's very easy to find out about comments people made in the past. It's very easy to find out what these candidates were up to before, who they liked, who they were friends with, and this is extremely damaging for the brand. The Conservatives and the Labour Party are able to avoid a lot of this because they have the infrastructure in place. Reform UK don't. And I think this is going to damage him as we get closer to the election. Farage wants to be treated like a mainstream party, but he doesn't want the scrutiny. And the more he's scrutinised, the more it all falls apart. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.